Let's get started. I just wanted to welcome everybody. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Heidi Lee. I'm the Director of Advancement at Meadows, and I oversee admissions and fundraising at Meadows. And I wanted to thank you tonight for spending some time with us and learning about our beginning school and lower school programs. With that, I'd like to introduce Mrs. Sara Carlson, who's our beginning school director. And one quick note, for the Q&A sessions that will happen right after we're done, if you could type in your questions into the Q&A box, it's just easier for the panelists to look at one box instead of flipping between screens. So we appreciate it and thank you for being here tonight.
Okay, thank you, Heidi. As Heidi mentioned, I'm Sara Carlson. I am the director of the beginning school. I'm going to show a presentation for you tonight. Just a quick note about the slides you'll see. As you know, we're in the middle of a pandemic. So some of the slides you'll see feature children wearing masks and others do not. Some of the pictures were taken this year and some are from previous years. So I just want to jump in. We have limited time. I want to jump in and get started. So I'm going to share my screen with you. Okay, so we need a great beginning, and a lot of you I've met if you're new to the Meadows School, and I haven't been able to invite you inside, so I just wanted to show you what our front office space looks like, and we look forward to welcoming you to beginning school. So one of the questions we get often is your program balanced? Is it all academics all the time? And the answer is no. Of course, it's balanced. And one of the first things I wanted to mention is we balance skills and creativity. So a lot of times people will ask questions about the artwork that you see in the hallways in beginning school. So you'll see children doing projects that look very similar to each other. It's teachers showing children how to cut, how to paste, how to draw, how to use markers. And so you'll see projects that look very similar. You have to have the skills in order to be creative. And then we like to display creative work, whatever you want to paint at the easel, whatever you want to glue sand outside, go for it. And we like to display what the children are doing on their own. And it's trying to balance, again, the skills and the creativity. So you see, we'll do directed drawing. So you'll see a teacher watching the teacher draw. In the slide here, you see a teacher showing the children how to draw Mae Jemison, the astronaut. And they're going step by step with the teacher. But then in the other slides, you see children outside just doing whatever they would like to do. And probably the boy drawing the spider web learned that as a directed drawing, and he's embellishing it on his own. So that's one way that we try to balance our program. And we also balance work and play. And that's really important because we often say the work of a toddler is play. And this is what they do. And they learn when they're playing. There is so much that you can learn just by being on the playground as opposed to just being in a classroom. So there is time spent each day working on the academic skills. So they work with teachers in a classroom. All of our classrooms have 2 teachers, so the children get to work in whole groups and in small groups, and they get to play outside and they get to play in the classroom. So we really want to maintain that balance. So I like to say about every 10 or 15 minutes, we change activities. And I often say this for adults, our attention span is about 50 minutes. If you take a 2-hour class, you get that break in the middle. So the children are constantly going from small group to large group to self-directed groups to teacher-directed groups. So we really like to maintain that balance throughout our day. And then the other questions we get very often about beginning school, well, I know you're an academic school. Do you teach academics? And the answer is, of course we do. But, and if you've toured with me, you know this is like one of my lines. If your child is sitting with her hands folded all day, I think you probably slipped something in the milk in the morning because their attention span is not something where they can focus on something for 30 minutes at a time. So again, the academics are changing activities. Mathematics, we're really looking at number sense. We want them to count and identify numbers. We want them to write their numbers. We look at patterns. And when I say we're manipulative heavy, if you've been in our classrooms or seen our classrooms, we have buckets of manipulatives everywhere. So it's great if you can count, but we want you to know that that number 3 represents 3 of something or a quantity. And similarly, with our language arts program, we're teaching you letters and sounds. We're teaching you reading skills and pre-reading skills, and we will group children accordingly. Because we have ages 3 through 5, obviously the curriculum differs between the 3-year-olds and the 5-year-olds. So whereas a 3-year-old might be just learning what is a letter and that's a symbol that represents a sound, Older children are learning how those go together. We include public speaking as part of our language arts program. We give them an opportunity each month to stand up in front of their class and present. We also give them an opportunity to perform and be in a program. The goal of public speaking in beginning school is at an early age, they never understand or realize that people fear public speaking. It's just what they do. And as we move forward in the program, we do introduce writing and composing as they can, and sight words and handwriting and sentences. And our program includes a lot of literature. We want books in their hands. We want teachers holding books, reading to them, and we want children with books in their hands, and they crave books. And moving forward into our program, science is taught, it's hands-on. You're a little kid. One of our core values is discovery. So what you see in the photo there, the great egg experiment, the children are looking to see how many books can Mrs. Gross put on top of an egg. And in one of our classrooms, the teacher even stands on the eggs just to see how much pressure they can take. So we do measuring and we do questioning. It's very inquiry based. I wonder what would happen if, and they ask great questions. And as an educator, I love when the 4-year-old can ask me a question that I can't answer. And then we talk about how do we figure it out? Our social sciences, we teach everything at an age appropriate, developmentally appropriate level. So we have a child here showing us Nevada on a globe. Yeah, the green one is Nevada. We teach about communities and community helpers. And by helpers, I mean people like our first responders, people like nurses and teachers and doctors, and any type of career where people help. Children relate to that. We center it around holidays and celebrations and different cultures of the world, and then habitats and regions. So we'll talk about things like the rainforest and where is that on a globe? Keeping in mind that a 4-year-old or a 3-year-old doesn't quite understand you have this world. And if you say to a 4-year-old, you live in Nevada, they say, no, I don't. I live in Las Vegas. So we're really teaching them in an age appropriate way to understand their world, the things that affect them. And that's where they really get into social science as beginning school students. And then additionally, we talk about the whole child. We're not all academics. Social and emotional learning are key points, as well as executive function. And executive function can just be, how do I sit in a classroom and listen? Or where do I put my pencil? How can I follow along with a routine? And problem solving. And I wrote the word centers on my presentation because they get a chance to go to centers and play. When children go home, usually in elementary school, you hear about what did they play and what did they eat. In our beginning school, they often talk about what did they do in center? Did they go to dramatic play? Did they go to the easel and paint? This is where they're really learning how to interact with one another independently. And love of learning is part of our core value of discovery. We want them to love to learn. If you're a small child and it's your first experience in school and that's not fun, it's a horrible experience in school. We want you to love learning. We want you to come every day wanting to know something. We want you to go home. If you want parents to hear every day something fun that they did, something that they learned. They're very observant. They will tell you if their teacher gets a new pair of shoes, they will tell you that. If they had a new story, they will tell you that. All kinds of things. And I will interject here. We don't believe everything a 3-year-old says, so we will clarify things as necessary. And the world we live in today, there's a focus on diversity, equity, and inclusion, and we have a focus on that at the Meadows School as well. What that looks like in beginning school are terms that children understand. If you say diversity, equity, and inclusion, they will look at you like you're speaking Greek. But if you say accepting other people, if you say everybody gets a turn, if you say everybody's welcome to be here and it's okay to be different, that's how they understand diversity, equity, and inclusion. And we teach that through examples of things that happen in class. We teach that through literature. We have discussions and we encourage parents to talk to their children about these topics. But again, we're not talking about them at a college level. That's not possible for us to do. But we do want that whole child to be developed. And then when we talk about enrichment, so everyone goes to an academics class every day. if you are a full day student, you go to an explorers class, and I just put some examples from a couple of years ago. We teach thematic units, and it's play and activity centered. So if your child is, especially if you're a 3-year-old and you're at school all day long, you're going to be in your classroom with your teacher, and then in the morning, and then in the afternoon, you're going to be in another classroom with your explorers teachers. And we named it explorers because they get to explore by topic. So they spend about 2 weeks every year on the solar system, and they love to create and make their own. Make your own spaceship, decorate it how you want, and sit in there while you are still little enough to fit inside a box. Old cell phones and old keyboards are great to have, to be the control panel when you make your space shuttle. So we have themes like the rainforest, community helpers. We have themes like Dr. Seuss. We have themes, just all kinds of themes that they can really latch onto, so they can have the time. And as the academics teachers will say, they have time to spend more time on the things that we want to do. And then we do have specials in addition to that academics program. We have creative movement, which is like the precursor to a PE class. We do music and Spanish. We also do a library class, and you'll hear from Ms. Friedman, our beginning and lower school librarian, a little bit later in the presentation, or she's on our panel. She's here to answer questions. They get to explore literature in the library class. And then we include sports in our program. So basically how it works is part of our academics program, if you're a half-day student, everybody gets those specials. They get that creative movement, that music and Spanish. And by the way, Spanish is something that they're going to move on to in lower school. We're not expecting fluent Spanish. We're expecting singing. We're learning animals. We're going to hold up the plastic animals. COVID-19 has not been our friend with passing them around child to child. Everyone's had to have their own. But it's been a really fun experience to teach Spanish because we want them to know vocabulary. And thinking about it, in English, if you ask a 3-year-old, the difference between a question and a story, or a question and a statement, they don't really know. So they don't know it in Spanish either, but we practice those dialogues. And then if you have further questions, you can reach out to admissions, or you can reach out to the beginning school directly. I don't want to gloss over all of these things. I just wanted to answer just a few. I want to leave time for questions, but some of the common questions that we get, the food. Lunch is included in beginning school tuition if you're a full day student. The other divisions, it's an add-on, and we're on a fixed menu. That menu is published each month, and you can see what it is. It includes a variety of foods, and we want you to know what they are, but we also allow you to bring your own food. If you know your child is going to cry, if it's a pot chicken pot pie, you're welcome to send something with your child. Snacks are also included in the tuition. Snacks are something that we have to have delivered and that we can store. We do a variety of different snacks, and we do ask parents at the beginning of the year, if your child has diet restrictions or you'd like to know what the snacks are, we will invite you to our snack room and you can take a look. So if there's something your child is not able to have, we need to know that. The entire beginning school is nut-free. So if you are sending food with your child, or we are serving food, it's not made with nuts or any nut products, including peanut butter or Nutella. And that's just because the younger children have a more difficult time managing their allergies. But by age 5, by the time they go to kindergarten, they know. And they're actually children who have food restrictions are probably better at knowing it than most people in general. And then we have recess in the morning and in the afternoon. Our AM and PM recess give them a chance to get outdoors and run around and have free play. And I just want to talk a little bit about recess because it's the thing that you often hear about the most, but it's also what you don't realize how much they learn. So you watch a child. This year we have a rule in the sandbox. We have a limited number of students in the sandbox. So let's say, I say it's 5 children in the sandbox, and then your child number 6, and you're standing there counting. And we watch and they look like, what do I do? How do we solve that problem? You watch them learning. Same thing with our playhouses. Okay, only 2 people in a playhouse at the same time. Okay, I'm person number 3. What do I do? So we watch them either find another playhouse, wait till someone leaves, or say, hey, may I have a turn when you're done? The things that you learn at recess, it's more than just playtime, but it is self-directed. We have bikes, we have a sandbox, we have slides. And we have basketball out there. We have a grass area, and we have a great big tree that provides a lot of shade and a lot of building toys. We also have an art station outside. So they're able to do some creative things out there. The bathrooms, we have lots of bathrooms because they're small children. We have like basically three sets of student bathrooms. They're everywhere in our building. And then we also have a bathroom in our infirmary. And we recommend elastic waist pants, something they can get on and off very easily. And they can go anytime they want to go. And that's a concern for a lot of parents. They do need to be independently toilet trained. We do expect a potty accident from time to time. That will happen even into lower school. That's okay, that's expected. But they do need to be independent. And we also have an infirmary. Our infirmary is up by our front office. If your little one isn't feeling well, we are going to let you know. Sometimes they're just out of sorts. So it might be the phone call, no sniffles, no fever, she's just not acting like herself today, or he's really in a rotten mood today. No need to come, but just to let you know, we notice things like that because we're with them so much. So sometimes they'll sit in the infirmary and read books, or sometimes they'll just, lie down for a while. And so if they fall asleep, we'll call you usually, if they're getting sick, but we do have a space available. And I also have a space available. During COVID, it's been used, commandeered as a lunch area, but we actually have what I call our kid lounge. It's a place where children can go and sit on the rug, chill out, read books. So we want spaces where they can express themselves and be creative, and also have that chance when they're just not into it for that moment, a place to take a breath and not be embarrassed to do that. And then NAP. NAP is available. So state law, it governs schedules for preschool in Nevada. And so we must have rest time in the middle of the day. So if they're full day, NAP is available, but it's not mandatory. And what I mean by that is you have to rest. They need rest. But if your child doesn't nap, we don't have them sit like a statue and not move. So we do have that, you bring nap items for us. So they sleep on a cot and they have their little roly-polies and they're all ready to sleep. But if they're not sleeping, they can do a room with quiet activities. And that can change day to day. So if you call us and say, oh my goodness, my son is staying up till 11:30 p.m. every night because he's napping in school, we will make an adjustment there. Because we're teaching academics, we're teaching social and emotional learning, but at the end of the day, they're still small children who need supervision. So I did want to mention our student-facing staff, our ratio is 8-to-1, and that's not including our full-time person in the office. In the classroom, a lot of people will ask this, classroom teachers, minimum of bachelor's degree to teach our academics. We have teachers teaching our children. And then our classroom aides are the people that we share. So you'll have 2 teachers and then you'll see our other staff roving in and out. I'll skip the half day or full day, I'll explain that in just a moment. And then we have extracurricular activities available. Those were put on pause for COVID-19. And fewer things are available for the younger children. Most of them can't stay after school that long. It's a long day for them. But as they get older each year, they have more opportunities for extracurricular activities. And by the time they get to kindergarten, they have a full catalog of those. I want to explain the half day and the full day, and I'm being respectful of time to leave for questions. Our half day and our full day program, like I mentioned, everyone's enrolled in a half day as an academics class. And so you either do a half day and go home, or you stay for the full day. So half of that day is with your academics class and those teachers, and the other half of the day is the explorers class where they're doing thematic work. Then just a few things, we have special events. We take field trips and excursions, and we invite parents to join us. We can't do it without extra set of eyes. You see, the picture you see is Floydland Park, and they do a nature walk and they love it, but we do need all hands on deck for that. And we have special events. We have, a homecoming celebration because we are a preschool through 12th grade school. We have programs, part of that public speaking and part of the music that culminates with, they get on stage, they sing, they dance, and they speak in a microphone just to get that experience. We have special events we have a Halloween parade. They get to sing for their parents for Halloween. We do a Valentine's Day, kind of a box lunch social kind of a thing. So we have events for parents and events for children and events for both parents and children. Parents, you are our partners. You are the support system, and we don't do this in isolation, neither party. If you have a talent or expertise that you want to share, you can come in and talk to our students. And this year we've had a lot of that happening on Zoom. We have parents coming in for all of our special events. You can come in as a guest reader, sharing anything that you know how to do and want to show children. And we ask you to come for parent conferences. And we do ask that you keep communication with the teachers. And above all, you are the love and support. And you see the pumpkin carving there. We can't use a knife and carve a pumpkin without a parent to help. So we want you to come. We want you to share and just partake in all the activities that we have. And I'm kind of going to close my presentation with the most important thing, the nurturing part of beginning school. They're little children. Our job as educators is to create a safe environment, to take an academic risk, to be yourself. If you come to school and you have to be like someone else, that's just not fun. And then you're not comfortable. We have a safe environment to make a mistake and a safe environment to feel included. You have to feel included. Most of my staff have their own children. Most of us have our own children. And like Mrs. Gismondi in my front office likes to say, while they're here, we treat them like they're ours. We're parents ourselves. We understand. We want your child to feel nurtured and loved. And I have to say it because I say it to all of you when I meet you. If I'm not making your child a little bit uncomfortable every day, I'm not doing my job. We want them to stretch and grow in a safe environment to do that. And, finally, that we have the foundation, and we want you to be prepared for the next steps, which is, moving on to K-12 and beyond. And there's another line that I use, it's old and tired, but say we see little children, but we're thinking long-term. We're thinking about what they're going to do after. So I'm going to stop my screen share so I can see if I have any questions in the queue. And please feel free to type a question. I could talk about beginning school in the Meadows in general for a long time. So I'm going to check the Q&A and I'm going to check the chat. And I will mention this, if you are interested in specific things about your child, you have specific questions about whether you believe your child is a fit, or some of the things that you've heard here, please reach out to me directly. Please reach out to Heidi Lee in admissions, and we'll find you the right person to answer those questions. There's nothing that makes me more happy than watching children learn. And for those who are not familiar with the beginning school program, so I am the administrator of the beginning school, and that is my basic my main responsibility, but I also am part of the teaching staff part-time. And that is the most amazing thing that I do all day long. Question about finding out your half-day student status. I will tell you, half-day students, the morning classes, I have 2 3-year-old classes. They both meet in the morning. I have a younger 3s and an older 3s. And so those are the 8 to 11:30. Then I have 1 class of 4-year-olds in the morning. And then the other 3 classes of the 4s in our Young 5s program, they meet in the afternoon. So if you had a specific need, if your child is 3, it's automatically in the morning. If your child is 4, I have options. So if you had a particular need, you need a morning time or you need an afternoon time, please send an email to the school and reach out to admissions and we can talk to you about that. But as far as sending out in the summertime after school is out, we will send out the schedules. But if you have a particular need, we have a wonderful staff. So as far as teacher requests, everybody you get is going to be fantastic. And they work in these wonderful teams. But if you have a particular need for your family, please let us know. In-person tours available. Yes, they have been available on Saturdays. So if you reach out to admissions, we're not inviting, as much as I would love to, we've not been inviting people inside the building during the school day. If you can't make one of those Saturday tours, if you're not able to do that, please reach out to me and I will talk to you about our next best options, up to and including my laptop on a cart walking you around on Zoom. I'm happy to do that. And then as far as another question just regarding choosing activities, the balance between self-directed and teacher-directed, it kind of goes back and forth. I would say in an academics class, it's about 50-50 some days a little bit more, a little bit less. So anything where a teacher is presenting something, that's what the teacher has decided. So for example, we're doing numbers today, every day. We're doing reading every day. But then when the teaching part is, the direct teaching part is done and they're going off to centers. That's where it's student directed. They get to organize their own game. So I would say some days it probably would be 60-40 or 40-60. I know that's not a really specific answer, but it's constantly changing activities. And so even when there's student choice, some of it is just straight up free choice. Like some classes do, centers are free choice Friday, favorite day ever. And sometimes it is, here are your choices. You got choice A, B, or C, and you get to choose among those choices and what you're going to do. Because part of that social and emotional learning is truly teaching you how to do all that stuff. Let's see. And I think as for all the questions, and I'm looking at the clock thinking I'm going to have to turn it over to someone else pretty soon, but I just want to make sure I answer all your questions, and I really, really appreciate it. And yes, to answer one more question, yes, you will be receiving further information for admitted students. You will be receiving further information through the beginning school directly, and some from the school in general directly, uniforms, teacher assignments. Those will come to you by email, and you will get a chance to meet the teacher. Even during the pandemic, we had an open house. It was socially distanced and in groups, but somehow or another, you get to come to the school, to the classroom, see where you're going to be, see where your child will be, and meet the teachers before school starts. And with that, I will say again, thank you so much for coming, and enjoy the presentation with the lower school.
Thank you, Mrs. Carlson. We will be beginning in 1 minute with the lower school presentation. For those of you that have questions about tours, please email admissions@themeadowsschool.org, and we can set up tours on Saturdays for those of you that are interested. And if you have any other questions about admissions, please email that email address, and we're happy to get back to you as soon as we're able to. With that, I'm going to introduce our lower school director, Ms. Laura Kennedy. Been with the school for almost a full year, and it's been an entire pandemic year. So we appreciate her being here and leading this charge during one of the most difficult times educators have had in any of our lifetimes, I believe. So, and she has a full panel of some folks from the lower school and throughout campus that will be able to answer questions that you might have after she talks to you a little bit about the lower school.
Hey, thank you, Heidi. Welcome, everybody. I am Laura Kennedy, as she said, in my first year here in Las Vegas, but in my 20th year as a lower school director at schools around the United States and internationally as well. So I am also going to start a screen share. And as Heidi said, I do have a few teachers on this call. So when we get to the Q&A, if I'm not able to answer some of the questions, we will have some teachers able to answer those as well. Okay, so, oops. Let's start back at the beginning. Okay, so Courtney, can you just give me a thumbs up that everything, you can see my screen? And we're good to go. Good, thank you very much. So again, welcome. And let me just make sure I can, yes, great. Okay, and a reminder, we are not using the chat tonight. So if there's anyone new on the call, I see a few more participants came on. If you can, at the end of this, there'll be a time for Q&A and you can ask your questions in the Q&A. So at the heart of any great school are the teachers. And this is my 9th school that I've worked in around the country and the world. And I can honestly say this is the best group of teachers I've worked with. They are dedicated, they are caring, they are committed, they have extremely high standards, and they are just dedicated to the art and science of teaching. We have very low turnover, as our teachers love to work at the Meadows School, and they work hard to get to know and love every single one of our students. A few just basic facts: our class size maximum is 20, and we have 3 classes per grade level. This is our friendly front office staff, our receptionist Connie and our registrar Judy. They're always there to answer questions, anything from daily pickup to forgotten lunches to questions about report cards and homeroom assignments and things like that. So now I'm just going to go into kind of what the day looks like and what the week looks like. So our morning drop-off starts at 7:35 a.m. and when kids enter the building, they're greeted with a birthday wall of birthdays that happened that week. We also have an optional community builder called the Weekly Challenge. And so students gather there. I put a clue up every day about every subjects from animals to current events to sports, and they can participate, and then the winners get placed on the wall at the end of the week. Then after they arrive, and again, arrival time is between 7:35 and 8:10. We definitely prefer it's closer to 8 o'clock than 8:10 because we do start promptly with academics at 8:10. But kids will put their backpacks in their classroom, and then they go outside to play until the music plays and the bell rings to summon them inside to start the academic part of the day. All classes have the latest technology, such as smart boards. And our curriculum is detailed on our website. But it is an accelerated curriculum. I think most people know that about the Meadows, that we do work a grade ahead. So in most subjects, particularly math and literacy, we are a grade ahead in those subjects. And the day has big chunks of time to focus on direct instruction, particularly in reading and math. And then they move into small groups for leveled reading and for intensive work in other subjects that they may need. So it's a mix of whole class and small group. We also use a lot of novel studies in between large group. This is a second grade that's just currently reading The Freckle Juice. Particularly in the early years, in kindergarten and first grade, we do a lot of phonics instruction and word work. This is super important in the early years for a strong foundation in literacy. This is usually, again, in centers or small groups. We also do a lot of hands-on work with manipulatives to reinforce concepts in math. Research and writing, we're very proud of our very strong writing program at the Meadows. Kids start research as early as kindergarten, and they move into doing much longer research projects, which are incredibly impressive. We also teach cursive writing, which some schools have gotten away from. Some of these kids, I need to go back to the cursive writing classes because my writing has deteriorated over the years, but these kids writing it, it's just beautiful. So our writing, we're very proud of our writing program. Our kids finish fifth grade being incredible writers. The teachers all teach art in the classrooms as well. And I hadn't seen that before when I got to the Meadows. And honestly, these teachers could all be art teachers as well as literacy, math, everything else they teach. They're excellent at art. They teach a lot of art in the classroom. And there's beautiful art displayed through the campus if you've been here for a tour. And a lot of art is connected to the writing. So a lot of art will be around a writing prompt or curriculum and connected, as this example of the hedgehog story is. Something we've added this year, just as a nice bonus, is the kids do get to go up to the middle and upper school art studios. And this is for bigger art projects that they can't do in the art room. So sometimes they can work on clay, they can work on things that we can't quite handle in the classroom. The kids love going up there as well. Kids work not just individually. You saw a lot of desks in the photos before, and a lot of that is because of COVID, but kids also do collaborative work. They work together on projects. We work also on design thinking and STEM projects. These are kids working particularly on a design thinking project. More examples. This was an example in second grade of building a boat that would hold a certain amount of weight, and then also building a structure that was designed on a certain plan. Specialist classes. We're really proud of our specialist classes with teachers trained in their field. So this is an example of science in the science lab. And science is a blend of earth science and physical science and all the different sciences. Another example of kids doing STEM in science and doing projects together. Weekly music classes. All our music classes include singing and movement, as well as percussion and orff instruments and recorders. And a lot of our music classes are in preparation for performances as well. PE happens several times a week. We have 2 big, beautiful gyms, which we use. And we also go out on our big, beautiful field and playground as well. Library and technology, our librarian and technology specialist is here on this call tonight, so she can answer any questions, but it's a combination. Kids go to our library to read, to pick up books, and also to learn technology. And in technology, we start coding very early, we start project work, we start digital citizenship. It runs the gamut in technology. Technology is also integrated into our classrooms. I'm not sure of the number of devices on campus, but it's more than the number of students we have. So we have everything from iPads, Chromebooks, laptops, so they get to experience every type of technology, which we feel is great to get them adapted to the real world situations. Spanish begins in kindergarten 3 or 4 times a week. And what we've added, again, we've added this this year, and it's been a huge hit with the kids, is they go to drama in our state-of-the-art theater with our upper school drama teacher. He's wonderful with the kids. They just absolutely love it. And in particular, the remote learners this year have loved it. You can see them on the back screen there. They generally feel like they're part of a classroom in our homeroom classrooms, but on the stage like this, they are part of it. They are there. So that's been a great addition that we are going to keep going in the future. I'll just talk a little bit about student assessment in lower school. So it's frequent, it's ongoing. We use a variety of methods and types: formative, performance tasks, projects. We have detailed report cards 4 times a year. This is an example of a report card. We have conferences twice a year. Conferences are also always available as needed as well, but formal conferences happen twice a year. Letter grades begin in 1st grade, and then we also do national ERB testing in 1st grade and up. Another way you can check assessment in between our report cards is we have a parent portal to check grades and progress. We encourage you not to get too obsessed about this because you don't need to every single day check your child's grades, but it is there. And teachers don't input every day, but they do input every few days. And teachers will certainly let you know if you notice something, and if they notice something that somebody is trending down, they'll definitely contact you to let you know. But that is parent portal available to you. Moving on, hot lunch is available to purchase or to bring you on your own. This year we're eating in the classrooms, but this is our common area where normally would be even more full than this. These kids just help me demonstrate where we eat normally. And so again, it's hot lunch. You can pick every day, you can pick several days, or kids can bring their own lunch. Of course, there's recess attached to lunch as well. Kickball is always popular. Building is still popular. You saw in the beginning of school slides, they love to build, and older kids love to build too. They just go a little higher and a little bigger. So I just want to talk briefly about our good citizenship, which we're very proud of. It's our character that we bring into the lower school. So each month we have a theme. And this year we've done themes around growth mindset, respect, sportsmanship, teamwork. And so teachers will do activities in the class around this, read stories. Our librarian might read stories around the theme. And then kids who are deserving of representing that theme or their own personal goals or classroom goals will receive a good citizenship recognition. And the way that works is really just a natural kind of catch them being good. They get a little slip. Teacher will just quietly say to them, go to Miss Kennedy's office. They come to my office. They sign what I call the Golden Good Citizenship book. We chat a little bit about what they did. And then I mail home this postcard to the parents. Students are eligible. They can get one every week, every month. And some, might still be working on things and might get less. But it's, and again, it's something that's kind of quiet. It helps me get to know the kids. It's not a big public recognition, but it's something that we like to do that it will spread kind of naturally too. When a kid comes back to the class, the student comes back to the class, a friend might say, what'd you do? Oh, I went to visit Miss Kennedy. I got a good citizenship. What did you do? Oh, I helped a friend or something like that. And we like things to kind of spread organically like that, as well as having the big display in the hallway to remind them. Community service begins in the early grades and goes throughout the Meadows middle school and upper school. This is an example of a community service project I worked on with the 5th graders recently. It was called Valgrams, and it was a fundraiser for the SPCA. And so this was a lot of hard work. They organized everything, and we're very proud to raise $2,000 for the SPCA. Student discipline, just to talk briefly about that, we really have very few discipline problems. If we do, we really use an approach, first start with the classroom, and then if it reaches my level or anything a little more serious, then we use what we call a think sheet. And this is to get students to reflect on what they did. It's not just a punitive punishment. It's a conversation between the teacher and the child, or myself and the child, about what they did, why it wasn't a good choice, how they were feeling. That's an important thing. So you can look at those triggers. What made you feel this way? And then the most important thing is, what could you do next time? We'll role play how we can stop that. So usually if there's an issue, it's if a student gets a think sheet, it's usually their last one. So really, again, to reiterate, we have really great kids at the Meadows with very few discipline issues. We have so many special traditions, and I can't go through them all tonight. A lot of them are detailed on our website, but I'll just mention a few highlights. Our class programs, they are performances / informational, curriculum-based programs, public speaking events that the students put on in each class for the parents, and then again for the students in their grade level. And these are original productions that the teachers write, sometimes based around interest in class, curriculum, holidays. It runs the gamut. They're big productions. We also rely a lot on parent help for this. So I know Sarah talked about parents coming in to help. Sometimes people are wondering about how they can help in lower school, and this is a great way to get involved and to help. We also have many special traditions. We have Halloween parades and things. This year is an example. We, according to COVID, we revamped it, but it was a big hit. We did a Halloween trunk or treat outside after school one day. We have lots of all school holiday celebrations. This is a beloved tradition that usually was held inside. We were really successful in recreating it outside. Some people might even said it was better outside because getting 700 kids inside is a little hard. We were all out on the field. It was a great afternoon. We have, again, many traditions. Pancake breakfast, just another example. Valentine's Day bake sale, which second grade runs. And we have traditions across divisions involving older and younger students, which are some of the most beloved traditions in the school. We also have Meadows Singers for 4th and 5th grade. They perform at many venue events throughout the school year and also at outside venues as well. We have several optional math contests and things like math contests, math Olympiads, and spelling bees for the older grades. We also have the 5th grade Great American Pride program, where 5th graders are encouraged to memorize many of the famous speeches throughout time, as well as presidents and states and capitals. I'll talk a little about extended day. Right now, we do not have extended day, but we anticipate having it again next year. It's until 4:30 daily. There's time for snack, play, and homework. We also have optional, what we call our MAPS program, which are classes that, again, run the gamut, everything from arts classes, drama classes, music, language, chess, and sports. And we also have early drop-off available at starting at 7 a.m. and late care until 6 p.m. We are very happy that we have a learning specialist, and this is new this year. She's done a phenomenal job, Dr. Withy. She is available to meet with students, parents, small groups. If you have any kind of concern about your child's learning, she's available, and she'll be the point person between you and the teacher. And again, she works with kids in math and reading in particular, and is available. We also have a counselor available. She does classes sometimes with the kids. She did a great class on stress relief earlier this year for the older kids, and she'll do mindfulness classes and things like that for the younger students. Just a little about me. I'm very hands-on. I love to work with kids doing challenges. This was me doing a cup challenge, and I also love to read with the kids, play kickball. I have them into my office. This is kindergartners coming in to read with me. So I really like to get to know them so that if there is ever a problem, and again, there rarely is, they know me and they trust me as well. And you hopefully do as well. So just in closing, at the Meadows, I've been here almost a year now, and our core values are at their top: scholarship, character, community, inclusion, and discovery. And we really have happy, engaged students who love to learn and love to excel. So to finish up, before I move to questions, I'm just going to turn it over to Michael Orman, who is our Director of the Arts, but he's wearing 2 hats as we move into the summer. He's also running our Camp Mustang, which is our summer camp for ages 3 to 18. And so he is going to speak for a little bit about Camp Mustang, and hopefully I'm going to stop my share right now. And Michael is on this call, and I'm going to turn it over to Michael.
Thank you. So I just want to take a moment and tell you a little bit about our Camp Mustang program. We're incredibly fortunate that we had such a strong foundation in a summer program, and this year we are looking to expand it to really kind of extend the school year and offerings for our, not only our families but families in the Las Vegas area. So we are a content subject specific camp that allows your child and yourself to sign up in different weeks in different subjects. So if your child is interested in robotics or interested in science or arts or reading and just enjoying just different aspects of life, we really are trying to focus and cater to student experience and enriching their lives past the classroom. And so we just wanted to let you know that our summer program is open for enrollment now. You can go on the website, go under our Camp Mustang tab, and it'll give you a whole list. We have actually over 200 camps offered this summer, and we're really excited about offering this to you and to your children. So if you have any questions, please reach out to me. My name is Michael Orman. But again, we're very happy that you're here, and we're excited to see you soon.
Okay, so if you have any questions for any of us, this could be something you forgot for Sara Carlson about the beginning school, for Heidi Lee about admissions, for Michael about summer camp, or anything about the lower school program. One question I just got were about openings. Do we have openings in a particular grade level? We are anticipating being full any moment now. We actually have waiting lists at most grade levels. At the most, we are looking at 1 or 2 spots still open, but and Heidi, if you want to jump in there, but things can change though. So while we will be full with waiting lists. Things happen, even in non-COVID times. In my previous school in Pasadena, sometimes things changed over the summer until our enrollment deadline of July 1st. People's jobs changed, something happens, somebody has to move out of town. So we encourage you, if you are interested, to submit your application, and though we're full, we would put you into our wait pool. And Heidi, if you want to answer anything about that.
I mean, I think you covered it, but yes, if you have any questions or anything specific you'd like to ask, feel free to reach out to myself, or you can at admissions@meadowsschool.org, or my direct email is hlee@meadowsschool.org. And we're happy to answer questions about applications and spaces where they might be. But as Ms. Kennedy said, that we are primarily full in most grade levels at this moment, but this is Las Vegas. I think those of you who know the city, a lot of things change, almost not daily, but probably weekly. We hear about a family who might be moving or might not be moving, and people move for jobs or family reasons. So things are constantly changing. So we will answer questions and try to get you into our pool of applicants as quickly and as seamlessly as we can for consideration.
So I had a question about rules for shoe accessories and hair for boys. We don't really, shoe accessories, I'm not sure exactly what we mean by that, but we have shoe color rules, which are basically plain, solid, that the primary color is blue, black, gray, brown, nothing non-distracting, no lights or bells and whistles or things like that. Hair, our hair is gender neutral. It says hair needs to be natural color, and I believe our handbook says something along the lines of, non-suitable. It doesn't say anything about length. It says basically natural color, and I think that's about it. If anyone else who's on the panel has anything different, but it's not a strict hair rule.
And it just needs to be out of the face, so it's not hanging in the face.
Okay, out of the face. Thank you. That was Mrs. Kathy Brennan, who's 5th grade long-term teacher. Thank you, Kathy, for jumping in there. Okay. So a question about a day in kinder, what that looks like. So are there any kinder teachers who are on the call who'd like to take that question?
Yes, I am here. So basically the morning is academically heavy. We do math, reading, and phonics in the morning, and in the afternoon we do writing and art most of the time. Now that happens every day. Sometimes we have those specials, music, PE, science, and Spanish, so those are included in our daily program too. when children are done with their seat work or reading, they have learning centers. So it is still play-based, but it moved away from what beginning schoolers used to be doing. So it's more related to the concept that they are working on in math, writing, or phonics.
And then Edie, maybe you can continue because they asked a follow-up question on how diversity and inclusion is included. And I know you do that through a lot of stories and storytelling and books, as well as Courtney Friedman and the librarian got some great new collection of books just on those topics. But kind of just talk about, especially inclusion, how you create that community in kindergarten and make everyone feel welcome.
Well, in my class, we have our group meetings where certain issues come up and we sit down and we discuss how we handle certain situations, what we know about certain things, and what else can we learn about? Do we accept each other? And believe me, there are a lot of little arguments and little disagreements, and we need to sit down and talk about it. So that's where everyone's opinion and side of story is listened to, and we do not exclude anyone from our group discussion. If somebody needs to have a voice, I make sure that we have the opportunity to give their voice.
And that's a big playground rule as well, that we don't exclude. So kickball started, you want to play, we make room for you. You know, Foursquare, we make room for you. So we really, really stress inclusion. In fact, inclusion has been our theme for the year from Mr. Gregerson, our head of school. There was a question here about recess specifically, where somebody asked about our multiple grades out at the same time. And yes, they are. So typically it's 3 grades at a time for lunch recess. For morning recess, teachers choose to go out individually. They find a break time, typically around 10:30, which is a good snack break time. And they have recess as a class together in an area. So, so multiple grades might be out there, but they are generally playing with their class for that morning break. For lunch recess, there are multiple grades. So it's typically, see if I get this right, it's K2-4 and then 1-3-5. Is that how it's been? Yes. So K2-4 together and 1-3 and 5. Question about people who are coming from abroad, if we make placement exams. So yes, we do have placement exams. We have a combination of, we take the IC if you're able to take that, if you're entering grades applying for second and above. If not, our learning specialist does a Zoom interview, which is very much like our exam that we would do in person. And what would a day be like for a first or second grade? You know, similar to first grade, with just kinder, as Edie detailed, you know, slightly more academic, certainly starting the day with academics, big chunks of time for core subjects, reading and math. And then they also are very busy. We have a lot of specials. So we do go, well, big chunks of time for reading, math, literacy, moving into small group work, seat work, and then move to Spanish, come back, continue that, move to science, continue that. So that typically they'll have 3 to 4 specialists in the day. But yes, our program is very academic. And so that's kind of your quick answer. Do we do a reading program like Accelerated Reader? We don't use Accelerated Reader. We use a variety of other things to assess. And we do have a reading challenge program where we encourage outside reading, and kids are rewarded for doing a number of outside reading books, not only in the summer, but during the school year. What kind of PE activities do you offer for first graders? Wow, that is just, I don't know if a PE teacher's on this call. They were going to join. If you are, speak up. If not, I know I've seen a lot of PE, so I can talk about it. PE is everything from.
I'm here.
You are. Oh, there you go, Catherine. Go
Okay.
for it.
In PE, we run a movement-based program, so the children are taught skills, but the skills are reinforced through lead-up games. So they will play wall ball, foursquare, kickball, soccer, handball, soccer, variations of kickball, variations of 4 square. We've got 2 square, we have 9 square. They learn to jump rope, they learn to dribble the ball, basketball skills. Pretty much everything a child needs to know to play a sport is introduced in kindergarten, and each year their skills are developed further.
Thank you. Question about if kinders are able to attend the after-school program, MAPS, and I believe the answer is yes. It is for kindergarten and up.
Yeah, we
Yes,
have
they are.
for beginning school through 5th grade, and there
Okay.
are language classes. In the past, we have had Chinese and French are the extra classes we've had in MAPS.
Great. How many hours a week do they have for Spanish class? So that is between 3 and 4 hours. I'm sorry, 3 and 4 sessions of a half an hour. So that adds up to, an hour to an hour and a half. We might be changing that slightly for next year, but generally that's about what it is, 3 to 4 sessions a week for half an hour. Let's see, let's see the question. What type of math and writing do they work on in kinder? So go ahead, Edie, thanks.
For math, we're doing section math, 1st grade level. Again, if you missed that, we are working a grade level ahead. And for writing, was the writing?
Yes.
Writing is almost theme-based. What we are learning about, we are writing about. So this starts very slowly because first of all, we want to make sure that they actually know how to write letters, and we teach them Danielian handwriting, which most of the children who come in from not the beginning school, they write block letters and they have a hard time learning where to start, when to stop, and how to use the proper formation. So that's our first step in teaching writing, and then it expands writing short sentences, and then we do research, and in the end they write stories.
Yeah, and the writing is impressive. When you see the writing on the wall in kindergarten, it looks like it advanced, it looks like 1st grade writing. And same with the math, they're doing a lot of foundational skills. They're really getting those basic facts mastered. They're understanding tens and ones unit, really understanding numeracy at a deep level. They're using a lot of manipulatives to understand numbers. They're doing a lot of problem solving. They're doing even calendar math, which you all do every morning.
Right. I'm sorry, I didn't go into details. Right now, it's getting more accelerated, and we always follow the lesson, but there's always that challenge where, you just tell them, well, I don't think you're going to know this. And you give them certain problems, and you should see their little eyes pop up, and they just want to beat you. When we do time tests, let's say, can you beat the teacher? And they love doing that. They love to be challenged in kinder. Everything is competition.
And question about field trips in normal times. Yes, absolutely. We have lots of field trips at every grade level. We can't wait to go back and do field trips. So, okay. And I see we're coming up on 7 o'clock, but I'm happy to answer a couple more questions if anybody has any. We can take 1 or 2 more in the Q&A if there's any. Okay. There was one question, I might have skipped it. It was about acceptances and when people find out. I think I saw that and I might have dismissed that by accident, but maybe Heidi, you can wrap up today's meeting by just kind of mentioning that if people haven't found out, if they're on a wait list, what that looks like, and a wait pool, and what kind of timeline there is for that.
So depending on when you applied and when some folks have heard, via email or a phone call from me or Mr. Goubert. And those of you who have questions, feel free to, like I said, email or my phone number at the office is 702-797-5934. Please call me directly. But you should have heard some things if you have finished the complete application and all of the things that go into a complete application, which we have changed slightly this year compared to previous years. And for those families who may have applied in previous years, this year has been a little bit different. So we will be we've gone to a completely online application process and added an assessment and an interview, which weren't all full part of the full application in previous years. So just let us know with what questions you have, and we're happy to answer them. And we hope that those of you who are joining the Meadows, we're excited. And for those of you who are interested in the Meadows, we're happy to help you through the process the best we can. There's a couple
Just
more
check one
questions
more.
here. Yeah.
Just see if there's one more. Oh, I think looks like we've answered all the questions. So, okay. Thank you very much for attending, everybody. Thanks, teachers, as well. And we'll see you tomorrow. And everybody have a nice evening. Bye-bye.
Bye.